Hi guys, Anna here. First off, apologies for this black lipstick, okay? I just did a video for a review on it, and it's fucking $20 per tube of lipstick, and I was not about to waste some lipstick, okay? So, ignoring that and moving on, this video is about Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, also known as PCOS. I was diagnosed like 2014. First, I went to the local clinic to get checked out and stuff because it started. And just first, before I say this, if you don't want to hear me talk about really personal shit like my lady cycles and stuff, you should probably leave this video right now. Okay, gave you a warning, now here we go. So I went to the local clinic because for a year I had missed my periods. And obviously I wasn't pregnant because I didn't have sex. I didn't do sex. I say it like that all the time, so I'm sorry. I know how to talk properly, but I just say it like that jokingly all the time. So I hadn't had sex in 3 fucking years, so I knew I wasn't pregnant. And I had normal cycles up until then, and I told my dad at one point, and then blew it off for a whole fucking year, because the first time I told him, he was like, okay, well, if you don't have them anytime soon, then I'll make the appointment, we'll go to the clinic, we'll figure out what's up with you. And I just kind of didn't tell him after that. And then finally, a year later, I was like, look, Dad, I've not had a period in a fucking year, I don't know what's wrong with me. So shortly after that, we went to the local clinic. They checked me out. They had to do some stuff, with me, and they were like, so we're not sure, we're not going to confirm it yet, but we think that you might have polycystic ovarian syndrome. You have a lot of the signs for it. And I was like, what does this mean? They didn't really give me a lot of information on it. They gave me a Planned Parenthood pamphlet and shit, and I don't even know why, really. They just did. And then basically I left there knowing, though, that there's a good possibility I'll never fucking have kids. And don't overthink that after I've just said it. I'll explain things here in a bit. I'm just gonna give you my story first. So, tears just rolling from my eyes. I'm completely sobbing, my heart is broken, because there is nothing I want more in this world, even now, than to have kids. I've wanted that since I was little, with my baby dolls and shit. I want nothing more than to be a mom. I took parenting class, excited as fuck to take home that baby. I took it knowing what I was getting myself into. I wanted that. So, I wanted the full fucking experience. So leaving a doctor's appointment knowing that there's a possibility I'll never have kids tore my heart out. My dad's holding my hand, and I'm crying, and he's like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not, Dad, I'll never have kids. And he's like, you don't know that? So the people at the clinic had set up an appointment for me to go to the local, OBGYNs or whatever we fucking call it, the lady doctors. I'm assuming that's what it is. And basically they confirm it, that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and there's not really a cure for it. All they could really do for me to get my cycles going again was I had to take this one pill for 7 days, and I would tell you the name of it, but I don't remember because it was a year ago. And then they were like, so after you take that, the last day, you're going to start taking birth control, and that's going to start your cycle. It should help you with your acne. And so I was like, okay. And I was on birth control for a year until I had to start paying for it, and because my dad's plan changed, and I have no fucking job, and I hated asking him for money, so I've just not done that. And I've not gone back to the doctor in a while, so when I do that, I'm going to have to explain to her that I've not been on the birth control for a while, and she's probably going to be like, well, why the fuck are you coming to me then? If you're not going to take the medicine I gave you, then why are you coming to me? But, it was nice to finally have a reason for some of the things that I was going through. when you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, you have really bad acne, and you get like, I don't know, like there's some people who have acne and it will go away if they change their diet up a little bit or take really good care of their skin. But I was taking really good care of my skin, and I mean, there were days where like I wouldn't take off my makeup because I only wore makeup like once a week or something, and I'd be too lazy, like come home late at night and not want to take it off. And so there was that, but like the next morning I'd wash it and it would be fine. And like taking birth control didn't totally fix it. Like I still had acne, but I can definitely tell it's not as bad anymore. I just get certain spots where I break out more. And then there's the whole thing with polycystic ovarian syndrome where not everyone, I don't want someone commenting on this and getting pissed off with me, so I'm going to clarify. Not everyone who has polycystic ovarian syndrome is overweight, but a majority of women, as far as I know, are overweight and have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that was even something the doctor told me. It's basically polycystic ovarian syndrome is like related to like diabetes. Like it's to do with your insulin resistance. So it's like, you know, some insulin shit. But I know what I'm talking about here. I just don't know how to word things correctly or proper terms to use. But it's a lot to do with your insulin. And I was constantly thirsty, and I read that something that can be related to polycystic ovarian syndrome, constantly being thirsty, since it is kind of related to diabetes. And that's a thing, like they will probably check you. If you think you have polycystic ovarian syndrome and you go to the doctor, they'll check you for diabetes more than likely, because they did me. Like, it's that close. And Whitney from My Big Fat Fabulous Life. Like, I watch that show all the time because not too long after I found out I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, that show came out, and I was like, yes, I'm not alone. Like, thank you. Like, there's just so much embarrassing shit that comes with having polycystic ovarian syndrome. Like, being thirsty and acne are the least from your worries, okay? Like, there's the whole, I have a cousin who has polycystic ovarian syndrome, and she, like, complains all the time about how she's losing her hair, because I've not dealt with that, honestly, but it's a thing. Like, male pattern baldness in women with PCOS is a thing, and, you know, thinning hair, and I was scared for a while that my hair was thinning, but it was just, I was using some really shitty products, and it was making my hair look flat, and I figured it all out on my own. But so if you're thinking that, you should probably do what I do and check first, like what you're using and stuff, and then decide from there if that's something you should be worried about. Because when you first find out that what you have, and you find out there's a name for it, you're relieved a little bit because it has a name. But then you're like, what does this mean? What is wrong with me? What do I do? And just breathe and know that it's okay. You're not alone. It's not as rare as you think it is, because at first I was like, this is rare, I'm gonna die, this is uncurable. I was just completely upset and worried. And it's bad. I mean, don't take it lightly, but it's not something that you should worry yourself to death over. Like, you'll get through it, honestly. One of my ex-girlfriends recently, messaged me, I'm assuming, like, as soon as she found out that she had it, and was like, what's wrong with me? What do I do? Help me, what's it mean? And honestly, there's not a lot you can do. You can change your diet up, and I've heard some women say that helps, and I've heard some women say that it doesn't, but it's not easy, honestly, at least for me, because 1, I'm a picky eater, 2, I'm a vegetarian, and so yeah, that's my main 2 reasons, honestly. And with polycystic ovarian syndrome, the diets I read, you're only supposed to eat like fruits and veggies and protein, and that's all good, but I'm a vegetarian, and it says that you can only have fish so many times a week, and you can only have soybeans so many times a week, and try not to have too much soybean because it's not good for you. And I'm like, okay, well, family's too fucking poor for me to live off salmon 3 out of 7 days a week, and I mean, soy's all I really have, and soy's pretty expensive too, so I don't know what you want me to do here. Like, you gotta give up bread, you gotta give up cheese, you gotta give up sweets, I mean, dairy products, anything with hormones in it, like, you've gotta give that shit up. And I was not ready for all that. Like, I try, and I still try not to eat a lot of bread and pasta. But that's really fucking hard when you've lived off, like, ramen noodles all your life, and when you fucking love pizza. But I am trying very hard to just eat better. And I'm doing okay. Like, I already ate a lot of vegetables, but I mean, it's just extremely hard. Like, so if you're frustrated with your weight, that's honestly one thing that it could be blamed on. And it's not even to use it as an excuse, it's just how it is. Like, being overweight is one sign. I mean, skinny girls can have PCOS too, but no one I know personally with PCOS is skinny. Like, it's just, I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm saying, as far as I know, all of the people I'm around who have it are overweight. And the sad thing is I was skinny as a child, and then through middle school and like 9th grade, I was decently skinny. Like, I wasn't like a toothpick, you know, I was thick, like, I was a healthy chubby. Like, I was wearing size 13 in juniors, medium t-shirts, like, I was healthy, in my opinion. Like, I wasn't too skinny, I wasn't fat, like, it's whatever. Then I started, like, stress eating, emotional eating, and maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe somehow it triggered that. I don't know. I've read some things that just, I guess it can be triggered. I don't know. But it's still not something you need to beat yourself up over and blame yourself for. Like, shit happens. I mean, it happens. So, and not everyone with PCOS does not have children. I have a few family members and friends of the family who have PCOS, and they've had kids, and it's all well. They've maybe not had a lot of kids, but they've had at least the one, and that's better than no kids. So I'm trying to stay hopeful for that. Also, another thing is that, and it's something you probably might feel really embarrassed about, every girl generally has like little bitty blonde hairs everywhere called peach fuzz. But when you have Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, it's a lot worse than that. Like, the girls in my family who have it will joke all the time about having beards and shit, and it's like, it's good to have someone, you know, you can talk to and joke with about it. Because constantly being upset about it and worrying over it is just something that will eat at you completely. So it's good to joke. And that brings me to another thing. When you have PCOS, don't be afraid to tell people. You need someone to talk to about it. Like, I joke with it constantly about it with my best friend and my family. Like, it's difficult. But you have to joke at some point, because if not, it's just going to bother the hell out of you. Just know that it's not the end of the world, though. Like, you can fix some parts. Like, even the baby part, you can have fertility treatments and stuff, and that could help. Another thing is, I've definitely noticed that I have mood swings a lot, and that's another thing. Like, your hormones are just fucking crazy, and so it's okay. It's okay, and it's good to know that, because I didn't know, and I was like, oh god, I'm fucking crazy, and it was just horrible. And I honestly don't know if it has anything to do with it or not, but I am constantly fucking hot. Like, I get hot a lot easier than a lot quicker than I do cold. Like, I will be burning up and everybody else thinks it's freezing. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. Like, I'm just constantly burning up. I get hotter quicker, and it's just horrible. Like, it's a constant hell. I'm pissed off, and I'm hot, and I want to cry, and it's just such shit. Like, it's the only thing I know to blame on it, like, is just that it's because of, you know, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So, I mean, it's a really fucking shitty thing to have, you know, hair loss, like, basically you just feel like a fucking dude constantly, and it's really fucking shitty. Like, I don't even know how to put it in words. You just don't feel like a real woman, and it makes you feel like fucking shit, honestly. And I'm a feminist, so I believe that, you know, you shouldn't have to go by certain things to be a woman. Like, you shouldn't have to feel like you have to be completely, like, picture perfect to be a woman. Like, you don't have to be hairless, and you don't have to, you know, be all these things. But then I totally, like, switch that, and then I'm like, shave everything. Like, I have to be hairless, I have to be acne free. Like, yeah, it's a lot easier said than done. But it's definitely good to know what it is and stuff before you even get it confirmed. Just to know that when you go in there and they're like, you know, we think you have this, it's not a big shock like it was to me. I feel like when it's a big shock and you have no idea what the fuck's wrong with you, that's when it hits the hardest. But when you kind of know first that might be what you have, and you figured it out on your own, it's not as bad. Like, I kind of wish now that before I went in, I'd done some research. Like, I had kind of researched why I hadn't had a period, but it was mostly, like, bullshit. Like, I don't know. Like, I actually, one thing that was not bullshit, I blamed it on my depression. Because, I don't know, like, that, what I had read was a legitimate, like, sounding legitimate reason for why you would miss periods. Like, the stress and stuff, and it would just fuck with your body. But to have an actual answer is, like, really good. Like, it really helps. And the main thing that they're probably going to do for you is just put you on a thing called metformin, which I'm not on, but I have family members on it, and then they could also put you on birth control, which is what I'm on. I don't remember what my birth control is called, but it's just like a typical birth control. So yeah. It's not the end of the world to have it. Like, you're gonna think it is, but it's not. There's still a possibility you could have kids, and if you can't biologically have kids, there's always adoption. So, and I know it's a big thing to people, even to me, to have biological children, at least one, and, you know, that's okay, but just to know that it's not the end of the world, and it's good to adopt. Like, I say end of the world like it's the worst thing ever, but, I mean, it's understandable to want to have your own biological child, because it's what I want. But, I mean, it's no big deal to have to adopt, because that child needs your love, it needs you, and you need a child, so it's kind of a perfect fit. But, there's always fertility treatments you could try, diets you could try to help with the PCOS so that you can get pregnant. I was kind of about why I would be taking a thing to prevent me from having kids if the thing that I have, like the disease or whatever I have, already affects me having kids. And my doctor was like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You know, don't worry about having kids right now. When you feel like you're ready to have kids, come back and we'll talk, and then we'll think of something else to do. But as long as you're not wanting to have kids right now, just take the birth control. And I was like, okay. So If you have any questions, don't be afraid at all to comment or message me. I will definitely help you the best I can. I hope that this helps you a little bit though, like just to kind of figure out what you have, what it is, what it means, the signs, and all that stuff. So I love you guys. Hope I've been some help. Don't forget to comment and subscribe and stuff, because that makes me happy. So yeah, love you. Remember to ask questions if you need to, and it'll all be okay. I promise. It's shitty, but it's not that shitty. Like, you'll live. Love you.